Okay, so along this whole idea of leadership, overcome problems, overcome challenges, I think one of the biggest things in our society, in our culture, we have this kind of victim mentality. We have a victim mentality. Victims expect everybody else to fix their problems and always blame somebody else for their problems. I think there's this concept called the relation of the mirror and the window. And you have to be able, as a leader, the bigger leader you want to become, what this is, you have to realize that the person in the mirror is the person you can control. And the hardest person to lead in our life is ourselves. And if everything rises and falls on leadership, our life, our happiness, our joy, our peace, our finances, all that kind of stuff. You realize in leadership, the first person you have to lead is yourself. And so you have to realize that everything that needs to change is in your mirror. Not your wife's mirror, not your kid's mirror, not your team's mirror, but your mirror is really what you can control. But then as you look through the window, all your successes come from the people through the window, okay? You have to give credit to the people on your team that are doing the work, that are helping, and you gotta keep growing yourself and keep changing. So I think a lot of people get that in reverse. They look through the window and my problems are caused by them, okay? And they look in the mirror and go, I'm pretty cool. And that isn't always the case, okay? And I think we have to be honest with ourselves that there's nobody in the world that has to change except for us. That's all we can change, and that's all we need to change. If we change, everything around us will change. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, if the first thing we have to do in leadership is we have to define the reality that we're in, and we start moving forward and start taking responsibility for our lives, the minute we lose control and we lose our power is when we start to blame other people. Because you give away.
That's right.
Everything that you have, you give away when you start to say it's somebody else's fault. We're raising young girls right now that play basketball. And something I've noticed recently is in tough games, there's a natural blaming tendency that comes out, whether it was got fouled or whether there was a referee bias or something like this. And so what I'm learning is it's not innate, it's not in us naturally to take responsibility. It's naturally to look outside of us. So it's learned. It's a trait that we have to understand, and we truthfully have to believe that, man, if it's gonna be, it is up to me. And the minute I cast any type of blame, any type of negativity, criticism of others, and don't just take responsibility, I'm not gonna create the results that I want to have.
Yeah, that's good, man. And I think in today's world, there's so many great examples of people from all different backgrounds and walks of lives and cultures that have come from, the bottom and rose to the top. But it all comes back to the original concept that what you put in your mind and what you put in your brain dictates where you end up. They take ownership of their life and don't play victim and don't blame, and they take ownership of their life. And there's so many examples out there. And if somebody else can go through what you're going through, you can too.
That's right.
But you got to have the attitude they had to go through it.
Anytime you see people as a resource to get your needs met and to serve you, I think it changes. You become legalistic. You have expectations that you demand things from them that you're unwilling to do for yourself. And that's the idea of I'm never going to expect people to do things for me or take care of me, that I'm here to take care of them and to set the example of my own behaviors, attitude, and work habit. And I'll never ask them or expect them to do anything that I'm unwilling to do that or more, because they're not here for my benefit. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I love that. And like what Brian said too, that's where your power is.
Yes.
I feel like when I hear someone being a victim and you talking about that nothing's their fault and everything's someone else's fault, it makes me think that is such an out of control feeling, and then that's just going to spiral downward, and you're going to become more of a victim and more of a victim because you can never manage anyone else's journey other than yourself. And as soon as you take ownership, which I think is hard, it is naturally easy to want to be able to blame someone else or want to be able to have something be someone else's fault, because taking ownership comes back to choice. It takes responsibility, it takes maturity, but if you're willing to work on it and you're willing to surround yourself with people who expect that of you and who encourage it, and you do get to a point where you take ownership and you realize I can choose a great attitude, I can choose to serve people, I can choose to change, and I can choose to give people credit. And then when we do that, I believe it's so empowering, and it gives other people a place where they feel empowered. They feel like, okay, that I can take ownership of me. And if I take ownership of me and if he takes ownership of him and we serve people and love people along the way, then it's all good.
Totally.